Hi, I'm Gavin. So if you looked back at the other videos, you've already seen we've sort of looked at the RTS, which is the original Contax SLR, the 139Q and the 137MD, and also the 159. Now, the 159 was the transitional cameras with the new types of lenses. As I stated in that video, basically before the 159, you had what's called Zeiss AE lenses. Now, those lenses don't have, I've got one here. On the 22, you'll have a green marker, and that green marker means that it's what's known as a multi-mode lens, NN. And that was basically what worked. It gave you, it gave you program modes on the 159. So let's move forward slightly. And as I've sort of stated that, the original cameras were designed by Porsche. Then comes the next one in the lineup. Now this is a bit of a random, it's like a total 80s, late 80s camera. And it's the 167MT, which is this. I think that's coming to focus. Or is it? Maybe. Try again. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it's my face. It's the auto detection on the camera. It's just trying to zoom in my face. Here we go. Let's put it there. Let's get it closer. There. It's got it. Okay. And what was the 167MT? This was like the quantum leap into electronics. And they're all electronic cameras, but this has all the features. It's basically program modes, like the 159. But the design on this is different. It's literally like the design team stayed up all night, watched, I don't know, Teen Wolf or some 80s movie, had too much pizza, came back and just went, we love Space Invaders, let's just do something crazy. It's one of the first ones where they've got sort of a sliding dial. When I go through this, you'll understand the difference between the previous cameras you've seen to what they've been doing here. Is it a good camera? Yeah, it is. At this point, though, Contax, I think Yashica had become Kyocera. They've been bought out. And they're a ceramics manufacturer. They make loads of stuff. They're a gigantic corporation. And you can start to see the influence of those materials into these cameras. This is one of the nicest cameras you'll ever hold. Well, for me, with my hand size, it just, I don't know what this material is on the outside. It's just lovely. It's just really nice to hold. It's one of those ones you put it down, you want to pick it back up again. But it's great. Now, yeah, it's program mode. Hang on, I'll just fire it up, talk you through it. We've got program modes. We've got, what have we got here? We've got AV, manual. Because I've got an AE lens on here, it's not letting me go to program mode. There's one there. Let me just change the lens. What's that? There we go. Let's pop that off. Here you go. This is what I mean about have to see if this goes into focus. You can see on there's a green. Does that go into focus for you? The green marker on the 22, that means it's a multi-mode lens. So hopefully when I pop this on here, it'll allow me access. If you put an AE lens on one of these, it'll only let you AV mode, which is aperture-priority, and manual. So let's fire it back up. Okay, yeah, so you can tab through, mode switch, tab through it. We've got program low, program TV, AV, M, program high, program low. So tons of modes on here. And this actually does have automatic rewind as opposed to the I'm going to forget, the one which is 39 as opposed to the 137MD. So yeah. So anyway, okay, let's have a look at this on the table, talk through the features, and then I'll come back. Okay, so here we are. This is the Contax 167MT. And if we start over on the left hand side, we've got like a LED display here, liquid LCD, liquid crystal display, which will fire up over when I get over this side. We've got a mode button, ISO button. Then we've got our shooting selector. So we've got single shot, continual, which is click, 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 you know, and then you've got ST, which is a single shot timer. So the same as I showed you on the 137. And then in the middle here, flash shoot. And let's go over to this bit. Now this is exposure compensation. Now this has an extra feature. Okay, so you've got your standard exposure compensation. You can ramp up and down there. But the marketing department must have had a field day when the engineering guys showed them this, because they came up with a great acronym. So this has ABC, auto bracketing control. What does that mean? Brilliant. What does that mean? So, okay, there's a lever here. If I move it round, you can see a white dot and a green dot move round. This is if you're in AV mode or you're in one of the program modes or the shutter priority modes. It tells you what you're doing. So in AV mode, it's going to do an exposure, half a stop one way, half a stop the other, and one dead in the middle. So you basically you take the button, you press the button, you get 3 shots, but it exposes and underexposes in either direction to ensure you get the perfect exposure as the marketing material tells you. So there you go. So you can move it around. You've got 0.5, and there you go. It's sort of slightly different for the program modes. And then you can push it back. All right, so over here we've got the on-off. So it's on, and now it's center weighted, or sort of larger field. Then we've got the dot here. That is spot. And then you've got an AE lock, so you can basically lock exposure no matter what mode you're in there. Okay, so that's that. Now this is a really funky, the bit that threw me with this camera and is a bit of an oddity, is this is a control slider. But before we get into that, let me just show you the very last part of the bottom here. If you want to rewind the film once you've shot it all the way through, you push down this button, push the lever to the left, and then it will rewind and you're done. Anyway, so let's fire it up. Now over here, okay, let's get the LCD has sort of lit up, and I'm in AV mode and I'm on F4. So if you watch, if I turn it, you can see the top one there is the shutter speed, and the bottom one is the aperture. The corner dial here is basically the frame counter. It's right in the corner, if you can see it. It's a bit dusty. And then you've got a mode switch. So let's just show you how this operates. If I press mode down, and then using let's move it back, move the lever, I can switch between all the multi-modes. So manual, program high, program low, shutter priority, and aperture priority. Now, what are these program high, program low? I mean, you've seen it before. It's like the very beginning of sports mode or wedding blurry background mode. They're trying to come up with a pattern where the camera is sort of like the shutter speed's very high, and for the high speed mode, and then for the low mode where they're basically, it'll drop the aperture right down to give you the blown out background bokeh or whatever it's called. So that's what they're trying to do with that very early. I mean, today you've got like all these things, you've got them on your iPhone, haven't you? So, and then you've got the ISO button. You hit the ISO, and again you can move the ISO up and down using your slidey thing. And that's really the top of the camera. There's not much more going on there. Now let me just turn it off. You lift it up. We've got one of these really nice spinny things again. This little white bar spins round as the film engages and goes after it's shot. So it shows you, your film's engaged in the cogs. The bottom, battery wise, it's like they moved forward slightly from the MD. Let me try and take this off here. The MD had those AA's, so they've managed to pare this down. I bet you it's still the same motor winder technology. It's made it smaller. Look, now we're on AA's. So they've got a bit of dust in there, sorry about that. But now we've got AAA. So again, same as the MD, the Contax 167MT, very available batteries. You can go out with this for the day and not worry if your batteries go. They last for quite a while actually. They're pretty good. So then on the front, we've got depth of field preview, and we've got our lens release. And that's really all there is. And there's obviously one of those funky plugins for X Synchro back. I can't remember what they are. I've never used them. The sort of flash mode. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I'm sure there's some other things. I can't remember when they brought in the remote control systems. That's maybe in a later camera, but I don't think I need to go into that. Oh, and this actually has a reset button down here. These cameras are like computers, aren't they? Early computers. So sometimes they just like throw a wobbly, and you'd have to get a pen in there, and you've got an RS button. You could reset them because they would. They said a few times to me. It'll actually just lock up. I mean, come on. I mean, it's like what is it, 80s, 90s computer technology. So it's not the greatest thing. But yeah, so that's that. The reason it throws me is it's like this. What is going on here with this? I mean, all the other Contax cameras have really elegant control systems, even when they're knobs or not knobs. This has got this slidey thing. And I think that threw a lot of people. When it came out, it wasn't that well received. It was liked, but this threw people off. And then obviously you've got this bit here. Push these two down to pop the back for the film. But yeah, that's it. That's the slightly weird, spacey Contax 167MT. There you go. Okay, so look through the viewfinder on the Contax 167MT. Now all the info is on an LCD display across the top. So if I've turned it on, if I just gently press that, it should light up. This is had at night. And then on the left hand side, you've got how many frames I've shot. In the center, you've got the shutter speed. And on the right hand side, you've got the actual current aperture. Now, I'm in aperture priority. If I change this mode, okay, you can see the mode now. I've switched to program mode and it's given me the details. So it's very limited at the top. Also, if I switch to spot metering, sorry, it shows you it's got spot metering mode engaged as well. Let's just try ISO. ISO information comes up. So it's a replica of what you're seeing on the top LCD display. Really useful. As I said, the thing to watch with these, if you get them, is if that thing lights up. It can be quite difficult. The LCDs do bleed. No, well, not bleed, they just die. So it's really hard on eBay to have a look through this, but it's something that the moment you get it, turn it on and see if you can see all the detail you need. Obviously, you've got a secondary backup because you can always look on the LCD on the top, but I've got one that the light doesn't come up, and so it's really hard to see the information on the LCD. Okay, so that was the Contax 167MT. I'm going to look round it. As you've seen by the design of the sort of controls on this, it's very 80s, 90s, very spacey, LEDs, but it is a lovely camera. It really is. I mean, I'm joking about it because it's such an oddity in the whole range of their cameras. It's just, I've got two of them. It's like a guilty pleasure. I shouldn't like it purely because of the slidey things it's got on, the plastic slidey things on it, but it is a tremendous camera. It's not heavy. It's really nice to use. So I mean, if you want something a bit different out of the whole range of Contax cameras, this is the one to have a look at. You could get them quite cheaply. They've got, quite accurate, quite funky. Thing to look out for though, inside there's an illuminator at the top. Sometimes that doesn't work when you get them. You can't tell when you look on eBay. There's also a capacitor thing in here. You read so many versions of this that only supposed to last 10 years. I mean, but I've not seen anybody report that it's not working. It's a battery or a capacitor. You can't change it. But I don't know. I mean, you're taking a risk with these cameras anyway, aren't you, really? I mean, but get one if you can. And then resell it later. Just enjoy it. 167MT. Contax sort of blip, but a good blip. Okay, thanks for watching. Thank you.